Welcome to Straight to the Point. I'm your host, Representative Joe D'Orsi. In a world of long-windedness, I'm here to deliver you the capital news in 10 minutes or less. So, let's get straight to the point. So this is the Straight to the Point podcast. This is Representative Joe D'Orsi, and I am joined in studio today by Pastor Josh Robertson. He is the founder and CEO of Black Pastors United for Education. He's also the pastor at the Rock Church Harrisburg and a leader at Rock City Learning Center. Josh, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
So we recently became acquainted. I actually had the honor and privilege of touring Rock City Learning Center. I was very impressed. Tell our listeners, what is the Rock City Learning Center? What's your mission and what do you do?
Sure. The Rock City Learning Center is one aspect of what Black Pastors United for Education does. Fundamentally, we establish learning centers, which is a hybrid place for kids to go to school. The kids are enrolled in a public cyber school education, and instead of them doing their curriculum and receiving their instruction at home, they come to the church, and we hire members of the church or members of the community. I like to call them love warriors, to oversee their academic day. And so they help with the administration of their course load. They help them with note-taking. We provide extracurricular activities such as STEAM, music lessons, urban farming, entrepreneurship and economics. And so the kids' day is punctuated by care from us, supportive care, but also other programming to make them well-rounded people. And so we've established, at this point, we have two learning centers, the Rock City Learning Center, and we have Turning Point Learning Center, which is in York, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And the success has just been tremendous. Our first year, we had 30 kids came to us, and 29 out of those 30 kids were failing when they came, and 22 out of the 30, finished on the honor roll. Mm. And then last year, 51% of our students finished above a 90% GPA. And so we really are seeing great transformation happening, and I think it's because of the convergence of the academic community mixed with the church community or the community at large, converging on a child to make sure that they have a quality educational experience.
Yeah, so those results are undeniable. Tell me about the difference between, like, let's say, logging in at a cyber public school from home. A parent or parents might not be around, they're unaccompanied, as opposed to your model where you said you have love warriors, you have people. I mean, I was impressed when I toured. These weren't just people in seats proctoring these classrooms. These were people that were deeply involved, that knew the subject material, and the students counted them as friends. Talk to me about the distinction between those two.
Absolutely. So if a child is at home and he has he or she has the best parents or whatever, that's great. But there's still a social aspect to that, and so we provide that social aspect, and that helps with the kids' social development. But then also, I think what we provide that is significant is those people who are not your family who still love you. Right. So I think it helps children to see that they're a part of a community greater than their nuclear family. And that's important because in this world that we live in today, we're preparing children to, number one, be successful in society and be contributors to society. But we're also preparing our children to be global competitors and global collaborators one day. And so their social development is important. So I like to call the Learning Center homeschool at the church. Mm-hmm. So you get the best of both worlds, that kind of that customizable education. But at the same time, the environment is much smaller than some of the traditional models that are out there for education.
Yeah. So Black Pastors United for Education, of which you're the founder and CEO, that's tied to what we're talking about here with your learning center. They're inextricably tied. But tell me about what you guys do at large. What's your mission? What would you like to see happen in society and your communities?
Absolutely. I think fundamentally what we would love to see is equity amongst equals. We want to live in a nation that is marked by justice, righteousness, and that everyone has an access to a life of prosperity, a life of happiness, a life of joy. And so we just fundamentally believe that education is vital to that. And so we fight for that. And so Black Pastors United for Education, we educate our congregations as to the laws that govern education in Pennsylvania and throughout this nation. And then we advocate for those laws that they would express education freedom and opportunity. And I like to say, we live in a nation that has a tremendous legacy of collaboration, of creativity and ingenuity and all of that. I don't know why we don't apply all of that to education.
Yeah.
And so Black Pastors United for Education, we want to, in my lifetime, I would love to see education be a nonpartisan issue, because fundamentally it's about our children. And so our children are the world of today, but they're also the world of tomorrow, and legacy matters.
Yeah.
And so that's what we stand for.
I often say, we're thinking about education in the 2020s like we did in the 1920s. We have a system that sometimes neglects students. We're in that systemic mindset that some have called a monopoly, and we're not serving, like you mentioned the word customizable, individual. Technology's changed. Our students have changed. They're not less capable, but they've changed. And we kind of have an antiquated system in the public school, do we not, that fails our kids sometimes?
I think our public schools, in some ways and with some of their students, of our students, do a great job, right? The public schools are I don't think are all bad. I think the public schools are limited in their ability to offer a quality education to all of their students. And so I respect the good work that they do for the students that do well, that come through our public school systems. But do I believe that system works for every kid? No, I don't. And that mentality is what I think is really antiquated, to think that every student can fit in the same model. As a parent, right, I have 2 kids. My 2 kids are different, very different, have very different needs, have very different personalities, have very different learning styles, right? So for me, I pastor in a neighborhood that is under-resourced. Right, by and large, is under-resourced. So I see the mother who has 4 kids, right, and the oldest kid is a superstar athlete at the public school and thriving. Great. I see the second child as the one who's socially awkward and likes aerodynamics, right? Mother should have a choice for him, right? And then the 2 twins, let's say they suffer from autism. Right. And so I think there needs to be a plethora of educational options, and all of the pressure shouldn't be on the public school to educate our kids.
Yeah.
I think that if we have an abundance of options for our parents to make a choice as to where they want their students to go, then we put education in the hands of the community. We put education in the hands of the love warriors.
Yep.
And I think the convergence of the academic community and that love warrior mentality community is what will truly make for, successful kids.
Yeah. So I'm an unlikely proponent of educational freedom. I was a product of the public school. My mom was a public school teacher for 35 years.
Wow.
And here I am introducing a universal educational choice bill, House Bill 1904, here right before the holiday. What's your message, Pastor, to people of all political affiliations? We've seen the data on this. This is school choice is very popular. 7 out of 10 Pennsylvanians are for it, but we can't quite get over that political hump. You said before in this cast, it's not political, it's nonpartisan. Couldn't agree with you more. This is about our kids, our students, and empowering our parents. What's your message as we head forward on the topic of educational freedom here in PA?
The reality is both sides know that we need to make a difference. There's 33 high schools in Pennsylvania that have 0 students at grade level in math. There's 6 high schools in Pennsylvania that have 0 students at grade level in reading. Out of 195 nations, that we're 121, and so we're not doing good as far as literacy, right? And so you look at the statistics. We're not competing globally. As a whole, we need to look at education as a whole and reform it, and both sides know it. And the only way to rightly do this is to put education in the hands of the primary educator, which are the parents.
Yep.
And the parents need to be able to make a choice. And if the parents, you said 7 out of 10 are for this bill, and 7 out of 10 are for laws that represent education freedom, the people have spoken. Mm-hmm. And our lawmakers have been put in position to represent the interests of the people. And so I think it is vital that lawmakers figure it out. Whatever the political stuff is that we don't know about, we need the lawmakers to figure it out and help us to get to a place where we're educating all of our children and preparing them for a great future and a great destiny.
Very good stuff. This is Pastor Josh Robertson. He is the founder and CEO of Black Pastors United for Education. He's the senior pastor at the Rock Church Harrisburg, and he runs Rock City Learning Center. Josh, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this time together.
This has been Straight to the Point. Visit repjod.com/mypodcasts.